Welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast, guys. I'm Liz.
And I'm Ashley. And here we are, guys. Here we are. Book 4, episode 4 of this second mini-series that we have here on our channel, this time featuring Twilight. So it's the final book. We will be coming to... Yeah, I can't believe it. We did it. We did the thing. We read all 4 books. And next week will be our kind of like wrap-up overall thoughts and talking about the movies, which have their own special place in our hearts now, I feel.
Yes.
And we're going to do all that. But right now, it's feeling dark and moody outside. We just went through the stupid daylight savings or whatever. Not saving my life. When is
it's dark early, basically.
Yeah, it's dark early. So it's cozy right now. It's just perfect Twilight season. And it has been. It's been the perfect book to put me in the mood personally. What do you think?
Totally.
Yeah.
I completely agree. It's like we had our first big rainstorm of the season last week. So it was like all rainy. Like I posted a few pictures like on stories or whatever. Because it was like a total vibe for sure.
Oh, that's nice. So does it make you want to like tell your husband like, let me jump on your back like a spider monkey? You know, run me up a tree. Let's go.
No, but now I might. After this,
hey,
he'd be like,
can I jump on your back like a spider monkey?
Again, let's just have a moment of silence for the fact that wasn't in the book, and they just made it for the movie only.
You know, it was a treat. That's for sure.
It was a treat. I mean, these movies, I mean, we'll talk about that next week, but I'll be definitely watching them every year for sure, I think. Aww. So anyways, guys, we're talking about Breaking Dawn.
Yes.
Book 4, the grand finale in the Twilight Saga. That's what we're going to be going over today. So, as per usual, the first like 5-ish minutes or so will be spoiler free. So feel free to stick around for our basic star rating. After that, we'll give you a warning that it's spoiler time. And then we will get into our 5-sentence summary and then go from there.
Yeah.
So for anyone new here, I don't know that you would start with this episode, but if you did for some reason,
what's up?
What's up? Just know that this is our first time. This was our first time reading Twilight. So these are not reread thoughts. These are all brand new organic ideas that like Ashley and I have not even discussed ahead of time. Yeah. So... yeah.
Like she was done and she's like, oh, are you done yet? Not that I should talk about it, but like I need to talk about it. And I'm like, well, joke's on you. I'm still like only at 50%. And that was a couple days ago. Yeah.
So I'm excited to talk about this book because I have thoughts and feelings and you probably have thoughts and feelings. And so let's do it.
We're going to do it. We're going to discuss it.
We're going to do it. But before we get into that, thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you so much, you guys. Whether you're rereading the series for the 19th time with us or you're reading it for the first time with us, like whatever your journey is on this Twilight journey or hanging out with us, just thank you. Thank you for putting time, what am I trying to say here? Taking time out of your day. There you go. Putting down your book and putting us in your ears and taking a little listen. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast, including YouTube. Yes, we're over there. Get some visual aids. You can come hang out with us, and just chill. Go find us also on Instagram and TikTok at Besties in the Books Podcast. We're that everywhere with the exception of Favable, which is our book club, like little social book club area that's virtual. And that is Besties and the Book Club. You can find us there. Search for us there.
Yep. Yeah. And we read all these books. We have all of the chats on there. Mm-hmm. We have all our buddy reads, all our book club reads if you want to join book club. All that good stuff. So, all right. 1 sentence, spoiler-free star review.
Let's go.
Here we go. So I'm just like awkwardly holding my mug, by the way, because it's officially tea season here in Humboldt County, which again, it's very Pacific Northwest. It's very Twilight. It's the vibes, but it got really cold all of a sudden. So it's like we had our first rainstorm last week and then now it's like 40 degrees. So It's a whole vibe, which I love. But yeah, so I got my tea back out. I'm excited about it.
Oh, I love that. We felt, my husband Jeff came in the other day, is after you left, because Liz was just here visiting me. It was so great. And he comes in and he's like, there's a chill in the air. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then we went out later. I'm like, oh no, I feel it. It's like I mean, I'm in SoCal, so it's not 40 degrees, but probably 60s now. And there's a definitely little bitey chill that you feel it in your bones. You know, especially if you got the old arthritis, you feel it. You feel the change. And now the nights are really cold, so we definitely feel it in our house. Like, it's weird how fast, because we just had some hot days when you were here, right?
Yeah,
it was so hot.
It was quite hot. Yeah,
yeah.
It wasn't like kind of warm. No, it was like
it was hot. Yeah. Well, although Vegas was nice, but whatever. That's
that was
just luck.
But yeah, no, that's what I said. I was telling my clients, because I was gone for 2 weeks. I was like, I feel like I left and it was summer, and I came back and it's not even fall. It's like winter now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
so weird. Yeah, that happened quickly.
But at least we're warmed up with Twilight. Thanks so much, Twilight. Yeah, highly recommend doing that. Get you in the mood.
Before. I have one more thing that I wanted to shout out in the beginning before we get... I don't want to wait it till the end because I don't want it to be in the spoiler section. So that she gets a proper shout out. So I'm wearing my Twilight shirt.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's so cute.
And so the lion fell in love with the lamb. And then it has the rest of the quote on the back. So it's a cute little like comfort colors, like gray crop top. And it got sent to me by Sarai over at Twihart Merch. So super sweet. She like specifically reached out to me and she was like, I want to send you some Twilight stuff. So she said there's another thing in the mail, which I'm excited to get to. But this is like one of my favorite quotes from like the whole entire like book series. And so anyways, I just wanted to tell everyone, go check out her shop, go support small bookish businesses. Yeah. And that's it. I love it so much.
You're definitely, you're in your Edward era, your Cullen era, if you will. Your Bella era, whatever, all the eras of the Twilights, you're in it. So that's so cute.
I would say Cullen for sure, because it's like Edward, he's a vibe, but like Bella too. You know what I mean? It's like I identify with her on so many levels that it's like all encompassing, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, so shout out to them.
Yeah, we'll have that down in the description box too if you guys want to check it out, especially if you're just listening. You can always, check out our description box later when you're not driving or whatever you're doing and, see where that little linky link is and the Instagram handle and everything. Definitely give her a check out. Check it out. Yeah.
So, okay, so my one sentence star rating. So I rated Breaking Dawn 4 stars. So it's been 4 stars this whole time. Like, that's just what it is. So 4 stars. And my sentence would be, while I enjoyed this book, I felt that it was fairly anticlimactic. And therefore, I rated it a 4 star. And I was really hoping it would be a 5 star. And it just was not.
Interesting.
So a mild letdown, but not like so disappointed that it puts my like a bad taste in my mouth of the series. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, technically I would still rate this one a 0 spice because like someone had told me like, oh, there's a little bit of spice in the last book, but it was like all closed door. So
yeah,
I'm like, unless I'm forgetting something,
more, but not. It's talked about like this is what's gonna happen,
but none of it's open.
Like not descriptive. There's no descriptive. It's very like safe for high school readers. I feel. Yeah, very closed door. So
yeah.
Yep.
So 0 spice, 4 stars. Okay, so what about you?
I went with 4 stars as well. Again, 4 stars for each book so far. I've really enjoyed this series. No, is it earth-shattering, mind-blowing for me? No, and it didn't end that way either. My sentence is part of that, I guess, because that's cheating to not have it. So there's my start of my sentence. And then also, I think it could have been 5 stars if some of the filler was trimmed down and there was more interesting stuff than what we got. So there you go.
Yeah, I felt like this book was a little bit longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, which it's not even the longest. So that always says something to me. I think the last one we read was actually the longest, Eclipse.
What was it?
But, you know, but still, yeah, I don't think it needed to be as long as it did. There's definitely a point of view that I would have enjoyed less of, but that's just me.
We'll get into that later in the spoilery section.
It wasn't like it didn't ruin the book either. So it didn't make it a 3 stars because I've definitely read ones where, you know, it has made it that way. So no, it still felt interesting enough and I was still trugging along. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay, so should we get into the spoiler section?
How did we get here? I think I know. That's your cue. We know how we got here. Do you know how you got here? How did you stumble upon these weirdos?
Do we?
I don't know how we got here. I'm surprised.
I truly don't.
Listen, how did we get here? With Liz so enthralled and wrapped up? I don't know. We'll have to dive into that a lot in video 4, miniseries number 4. For sure.
You mean
how
5?
did we get here? 5. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. The wrap-up episode. We'll talk about that.
Episode.
I truly don't know either. So I'm going to have to do some like inner... I'm going to have to meditate on it. I'm just picturing Edward's face as I'm meditating.
You're just going to blast the Paramore Decode song. How do we get here? I think I know. No, I don't know yet.
I mean, whatever works for you, you know?
You're just going to like have like your books like, you know, in a circle around you with the movies and then candles strewn about with your tarot cards, like trying to figure out how did we get here.
We're summoning the Cullens. That's what we're doing.
So there you go. There we are here for the spoilers now. So if you have made it this far and don't want to hear how it ends, then go on, save it to your playlist, come back later. Or do stay and forget all about it like we do. So
in one ear, out the other. And
I mean, these movies have been around for so long, too. It's like most of the time we know what's going on. So
it's true.
All right, let's talk about it, Liz. Let's digest this. Because I feel like I am not disappointed with the ending. So let's talk about it.
Okay, so Breaking Dawn in 5 sentences.
Oh, yes. We had to do that.
Yep. You got
the gong. Enter
okay,
gong man.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. Okay. Edward and Bella have the dreamiest wedding ever. But before heading out on their equally as glamorous honeymoon on a private island off the coast of South America that the Cullens own, Jacob pops into the reception just to flip out, then run away after Bella tells him that she is planning on having sex with Edward while she's still human before he turns her.
Mm-hmm. 1. Good job.
They go on the honeymoon, and after some back and forth about Edward being afraid to F Bella either to death or serious injury, he gives in, and they do it a bunch.
2. That was a funny one.
Okay. Bella gets pregnant, which no one had any idea could happen. But the fetus is literally causing her to waste away, and it's growing at such an exponential rate that it's breaking her bones and will likely kill her before she can birth it. However, she insists on carrying it as long as possible, hoping it will live and Edward will be able to turn her in the 11th hour.
Was that 3?
Yeah, 3.
Okay, 3.
Okay. That exact thing happens. And Bella becomes a vampire with shielding abilities who seems much more advanced than the average. And Renesmee is a half vampire, half human, thriving anomaly with the ability to mind speak. Jacob imprints on her, causing an unlikely alliance between the wolves and vampires in the upcoming confrontation with the Volturi, who think she is an immortal child who must be destroyed because Irina is mad they allied with the wolves and tells on them.
4. Yeah.
The Cullens gather vampire witnesses from around the world, including another half vampire, half human that Alice discovers in her travels, band together with the wolves, and convince the Volturi to let them all live happily ever after. The end.
5. There you go. You did it. Great job. Another round of mini episodes in the books for 5
That's crazy. Reviews. I can't believe that. Jeez. Okay. Right. So that is Breaking Dawn in a nutshell. Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me what your favorite part about this book was?
Well, just Bella becoming a vampire and kind of stepping into her badassery. She really, like, just became strong and figured it out.
Like, literally, but also emotionally.
Yeah, with all the things.
Yeah.
Like, she definitely went from, you know, we like her. You know, we relate to her, who she was as a teenager. She definitely...
I just spilled tea all over me. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
okay, anyways.
Casualty.
Casualty.
The... Man down. I don't know what I was saying, but yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good stuff.
You were talking about Bella.
She matured.
Yeah,
she really matured in such a way that I was worried it would be like too matronly or maternal, I think. Like while she's maternal, she's still like, okay, I got to go get strong. Like, you know, she still wants to fight. She's just a better version of herself in all ways. And so I liked that part. Yep.
Well, yeah, she's Bella, but she's no longer clumsy and weak and like all those kind of things.
Falling into that, you know, yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciated that too. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
So my favorite part, I just put the crazy birth.
Oh so, my gosh, it's horrendous.
That's why it was my favorite part, because I was like, this is so crazy that it's like the train wreck you can't look away from. You know what I mean? And so that is why, because it's like, it's just whoa. Like, just whoa. Everything about it. I feel like, you know, we'll get into this more in the next episode, but like the movie, oh my gosh.
It was horrific.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just crazy.
I'm still
it was out of control.
scarred. I was thinking about that the other day. Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, but scarred in the best way. Like, scarred in the way that where I'm just going to be like, I'm going to watch these every fall. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah. All right.
So, in the book, I felt like it was equally as crazy.
Yeah.
And so, for that reason, it is my favorite part. Because I was just like, what? This is insane. Yeah. And I mean, I like feeling that level of, like, intensity when I'm reading something.
Oh,
you know?
for sure. 100%. Yeah.
So, okay, so what was your least favorite part?
Jacob and his imprinting on a baby, and it's continuously harped on, and it's so creepy, and they're like encouraging it, and now we know that she's gonna be an adult when she's like 6 or 7, and they're talking about it at the end, and they're like, well, Jacob, ooh. And they even try, like one friend, I don't remember who it was like had the wherewithal to be like, maybe you should go find someone to love, you know? And it didn't work. But it's like gross. It's gross. Yeah. I don't like the undertones. I don't like the overtones. I like nothing
like
about
tones, just the tones.
Like, could they make it? Could she have? That was a choice, in my opinion. Yeah. She could have written it in a way that he will literally only be her protector. He'll have another love of his life, you know, something. But the fact that it's very apparent that he's going to be her lover, and that's that's Stephenie Meyer's words.
Yeah.
Yuck. I don't like anything about that. So,
yeah. So to piggyback off
brings down the series for me. Just because I hate its insidious nature. I don't like it.
If, you know, I try to look at it like almost like a societal commentary, and that helps me. Like, if she's making, like, a societal commentary, then I'm not going to delve into that right now, but I'll just, like, let you guys kind of mull that over. Then I can feel better about it, because it's almost like you're bringing light to something that could be problematic in the real world. And so, okay. But that was also my least favorite part. However, I have 2 things specifically that I wanted to say.
Okay. Yeah, well, hang on. Before you move on from that part, are you moving on from that part? Or are you talking about it?
I mean, I was going to keep talking about the imprinting thing.
Okay,
but you can go ahead. Do you have more to say?
Well, just that, like, just what exactly bouncing off what you're just saying. Yes, that's totally fine and valid, and I like when we're speaking on society in such a way in literature and art, but it's still presented in a way that, like, Bella just needs to get over it. Like, the mom is being protective of her daughter and doesn't want that for her. And then all the guys are like, it's fine. Like, come on. Like, Edward's already joking about it. Yuck. So that's the issue that I have, where to me it doesn't read that way. It doesn't read as bringing light to this situation that's happening in the world, in our real world.
Like, it seems normalized almost.
It's normalized. And it's another way to present it and normalize it to especially young readers. It's like, well, I don't know. I would like to talk to people that read it as a young reader in high school. Like, were you icked out by it, or did you not even notice it? Like, is that, because that's where it becomes insidious to me.
Or since so many people had crushes on Jacob, was it like, ooh, I wish that like he would have imprinted on me? You know what I mean? Because you don't, I mean, and I feel like we're all kind of like that when we're young girls. We're have crushes on these much older, you know, even if you were like a middle schooler with a crush on a Backstreet Boy, like he's still twice your age.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so I think that it's just like can be problematic in a lot of ways for sure. Yeah. But the two things that stood out to me was Edward calling Jacob son at the end.
I was already like yelling at I was listening to it at that point that I didn't even hear that part. I was already like freaking out about everything else in the conversation that was happening.
Yeah, it was disturbing. Yuck. Also kind of a little funny, but gross. Like funny in a gross way. And then the other thing was, just in case we weren't already icked out enough by this whole thing with the imprinting, Jacob giving Renesmee a promise ring they called it a promise ring bracelet. And I was like, I don't really know exactly what that means, but either way, it's like basically it's a promise ring. That's gross. It's so gross because it's like a symbolic physical thing of like, literally it's essentially like, it would almost be like a betrothal from the olden days. You know what I mean?
For
like,
an infant. She's like a month old. Yeah. Even if she looks,
5?
Even if she looks 5, again, I don't know, man. I do know. I don't like it. This is bad.
I do know.
It's bad gross. News bears.
Yeah. So the promise ring, absolutely not. Edward calling Jacob son, kind of funny, but also disgusting. So gross.
Yeah. And like, I know Edward is 100, you know, and Bella was 17. And we do have our problems with that. But like, it's a different level here, guys.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely. So, okay, so who is your favorite character?
Favorite character would have to be Bella, you know. Overall, I don't think I've picked her yet. But I have a backup in case I have. So I like Bella. She's great. I think she did good. But I have to give a shout out to the vampire Garrett for standing up to the Volturi in that, you know, battlefield, if you will. Hardly.
I picture like it's like Anchorman, but like with vampires, you know?
And wolves. Yeah. But I like that he, you know, wanted to essentially like, if we need to start a revolution, like we're going to do it, because he knew that they were just looking for something. They were looking for a fight. They weren't going to accept it. So he was one to speak up, and he spoke up in such an eloquent way. But I still like freaking Aro. I like him. I don't care. I think he's a good, morally gray villain that like he's willing to hear them out, but also he does want the conflict, you know? And I think that he's a good character, and I enjoyed him. So there you go. Yeah. But he also knew when to finally walk away. So
which I thought was cool too. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, my favorite character through the whole series has either been like Bella or Edward. So I picked one who was not one of them on purpose.
Yeah.
So I actually picked Renesmee as my favorite character. Oh. Because I enjoyed learning essentially about her like abilities and magic and like whatever you want to call it, like powers. Yeah. I thought it was cool. I was like, I like that. I felt like her character was just kind of neat. Like I would almost like, we'll talk about spinoffs later on in the episode, but like I would almost like a spinoff of her story. Like I feel like that would be really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, she was my favorite character.
I liked her. I would like her better if I didn't know how the creepy baby looks in the movies. Yeah. I haven't watched the last one yet, but I just know from memes and stuff. And so I can't get that picture out of my mind. And it creeps
it's pretty frightening. Yeah, why did you do that? Just use a just use a child.
There are kids that look similar. Like, just have some ages lined up and use them as, because I know she's aging. So there's ways that could have been figured out, and they made the choices they did. But, you know, these are the same people that chose all these wigs. So why would we expect any better when it comes to a child?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of issues with the movies, but you know what? That's what makes them entertaining.
Next time.
Yeah. So, okay, so how did...
No, least favorite character. My least favorite character, as you could probably plainly see, and I'm not going to pick a different one, is still Jacob.
Yeah.
Because ew.
Same.
I mean, at this point, sure, maybe he can't help it, but I don't care. He's annoying. And I did not enjoy that half a book point of view. Okay, it wasn't half a book, but it was a lot. It was a quarter.
It was a lot.
It's about a quarter point of view of Jacob. And I'm like, here we go. Ethan Holstrom all over again. Let's go.
Yeah. I know.
Did we need all that? Did we?
I don't think so. I posted something on my story that was like, is this how people feel about Kale?
Oh.
I'm like, do you know what I mean? Because people just hate reading Kale's point of view. And I love Kale. So personally, I'm like, I don't get what y'all are talking about. But when I turned the page and like saw that it was Jacob's point of view, I was like... No, absolutely not. I don't want to read this. And I was like, oh my God, this is how people feel about Kale. It has to be. It has to be. It was like such a strong reaction.
You know, because, you know, imagine having to read Kale's point of view, though, like at the beginning of the books while like all this stuff's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think
then you might feel different. You would be like, oh yeah, then you could relate. But like, we don't have to read his point of view until later. So I think that we also didn't need to hear about Jacob's point of view.
Yeah, just at all. Ever. Yeah.
I know.
Pretty much.
I can't wait to talk more about that Edward versus Jacob thing in the next video, guys. We will, because we need to talk about that. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's like, to me, it's just not even a contest. I don't even understand.
I don't get it. I guess he had to be there. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, if you're a teenage girl, you know, maybe it's different because you're looking. It's a lot more looks, I think, based too. Like if you're a teenage girl, you know what I mean? Where it's like some people obviously are going to be drawn to Jacob more just based on looks. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, his personality, like, come on.
Yeah. Well, Liz, you've been in all your feels for this series, this saga. How did this book make you feel?
You know, I feel like this book was just kind of like a smooth and steady, like, ride. The only, I would say that, you know, I enjoyed it. I, again, just enjoyed the character development because I felt like there was a lot of that in this one, too. Obviously, with Bella turning into essentially a completely different person, which I really liked. I loved, like... the honeymoon, the wedding, like I lived for that kind of stuff in this book, which is funny because I feel like in a contemporary romance, I would literally like never want to read that. Like, I don't want to read, like what, you're giving me a romance book about someone's wedding and then their honeymoon, ick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because this was like very specific, you know what I mean? Obviously about vampires and they have, like it was just different. I enjoyed it. So I really liked that a lot. But I was a bit underwhelmed by the ending.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that you liked the ending.
Yeah. I liked it.
You didn't feel like it was kind of a little bit like all of this buildup and then just kind of like nothing happened?
Here's my take on the situation. Because, you want that war. Everybody's like... throwing cars to get strong and arm wrestling and stuff. So they're getting in their dunce, dun dun dunce. They're getting in their Rocky era, if you will. Bella's running. She's running the forest, throwing them logs. You know? She's on fire. She's getting the IDs. She's going. She's like, has her montage. I love it. You love this. You guys in it with me? You know? And then it's like, oh, we're all hundreds and thousands of years old, so we're going to talk this out peacefully. And I just thought it was accurate. Yeah. if you're like,
would you put
50,
it that way?
Yeah, that's my take is like, yeah, sure, of course, it's a little anticlimactic. I see where you're coming from. However, knowing that these people are like the ancient ones, like they don't even know how old they are, like Carlisle. Yeah. You know, Carlisle himself is 300, 500 years old. So these guys are thousands. And they're just kind of like, I can have conflict. Like, we can start this war or not. Okay. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
there
that
was
makes sense.
tension,
It's
though, and I liked the tension.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension. That's true. But yeah, you would like to think that, if we were able to live hundreds, if not thousands of years, that we would wise up and handle things civilly. Yeah. Which is, and what they kind of
talk about that when they're walking away, or like kind of digesting what happened after, is like, oh, why didn't they whatever? And I think Carlisle was saying something about that, and now I just lost my brain with it, but it made sense. We'll see if it comes back. So you go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I was expecting there to be a little bit more of like something, instead of just like all this buildup. We found all these vampires from all around the world to like witness this. The wolves and the vampires have formed an alliance to try to protect them, essentially because of Renesmee, like all this stuff. And then it's just kind of like, well, okay, you're good. Yeah. No biggie.
Oh, that's what it was. So Carlisle was saying, well, they weren't expecting the wolves. And that one guy's afraid of werewolves, which was hilarious.
Yeah, totally.
That was funny. And then, so they went into it not really knowing that they were going to be that outnumbered. So Aro had to decide, was this worth it to continue, like to wage a war on them? Because they might lose, actually.
Yeah.
Because so many people were they didn't know Bella's power yet. They didn't know many of the people would come. They didn't know anybody was going to come. They just thought they were coming and going to take out the family, essentially, and maybe get Alice or somebody. So
they did kill Irina, but she was kind of I was going to say a bad word. I was going to call her a snatch. It's fine. I'll call her that. Like, I feel come on, have the facts before you throw an entire family under the bus.
I felt like that was enough. They should have. The Volturi should have dropped it at that, but then they still kind of wanted to pick a fight,
Yeah.
Because it's like justice was served in that, okay, the snitch is out, snitches get stitches or just dismembered, and just be done with it, but then they still wanted to pick a fight. But I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah. I liked it too. It just wasn't a 5-star for me. Like, I feel like it was a 4-star, but if there would have been a twisty twist thrown in there, it would have thrown it to a 5-star for me. Easily.
You don't think it was a twist that Alice was getting other half vampires?
Not really.
I didn't see that coming.
I was
it wasn't profound, but if you were a young adult reading it, or a high schooler or junior, maybe not high school, junior high reading it, you might whoa, crazy.
I mean, I thought it was cool, but I wasn't oh my gosh, you know what I mean? It wasn't that level, which that would have taken it to a 5-star for me if some crazy thing would have happened. I don't know, they did try to attack, but then Renesmee has some insane power or whatever. Ooh. That would have been cool. I don't know. I was just hoping
you wanted someone else's head to get ripped off.
Yeah, I did. I mean, let's be honest. There was not enough bloodshed.
So sue me. Don't sue me.
So, will you be reading any of the spinoffs?
No.
No. That's a hard no. I like how you're absolutely not.
I had a great time. It was a good old-fashioned fun time. I just have too many other books that I need to read that realistically I know there ain't no way. Maybe next year if I feel like it, I'm not going to say never. Am I interested? I'm good. I'm satisfied. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to hear some thoughts on the other books and how make or break they are. Because while I had a good time, I'm not oh my, gosh, I'm not in my colon era. We'll say it that way.
Yeah.
But I had a great time.
I will definitely be reading the spinoff. I don't know when. Because same. It's I have, just to give shout outs to some books that I've been wanting to read. I still need to read Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy.
Yeah.
I still need to read, it just came out, Hexed by Emily McIntyre. The new one in the Crowns of Nyaxia series is coming out this month. Guys, those are heavy hitters that need to get bumped up before the end of the year. So probably not before the end of the year, but I also feel they might make a good palate cleanser after we read an intense series next or something like that,
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll definitely read them. I just don't know when. At what point? Do you feel this? I was wondering this. Did you feel anything went unanswered? In the series?
Yes.
Were you... Okay, so what? Tell me.
So we know that she can shield.
Yeah.
But do we know why her blood is so special? And like, other than... So that the whole magic system within Bella is my unanswered questions that I was like, oh, like I've manipulated the story enough in my brain to figure out, okay, maybe her shielding, I was fuzz flying around, her shielding. Okay. So I know they set this up, right? It felt like whatever, that's her power, kind of a bummer for her, but like they set that up, right? Because they talked about at one point in the books that everybody had a power. They just didn't like harness it or something, and then when they turned vampire, like it became powerful. So Edward might have had a way of reading people's thoughts, like in a way, but it wasn't manifested, or it wasn't, his human abilities couldn't touch into that. I don't know how to word it. Yeah. So like that was like, okay, I get that, but I think it was like, why is she so special though? Still.
Yeah, I think it was like really harped upon, like, that Bella was really special. Her blood was really like special for some reason. The way she smells, like, you kind of got this feeling that either we were going to find out she was like some type of like her power was like insanely special. And, you know, maybe her, like, I don't know. It's like everything points to the fact that she is really special, right? It's like they can't read her mind. She advanced extremely quickly as a young vampire.
Yeah, we still don't know that.
Right. Like, she was able to carry and birth Edward's child. Like, you know, it's so there's like a lot of things which they didn't even know could happen. And so it's like there's all these things that lead to, well, Bella is special for some reason, but we just never really find out what that reason is.
Yeah, I think the shielding, maybe, like if I'm reaching here, is why she's able to control herself as a newborn vampire. Is because she almost can shield herself from those
excuse me,
vampiric emotions and desires. So that's the way I look at it. But it doesn't explain anything else, just that she can shield. So we know that. So that's my unanswered question. So that's a little disappointing.
Well, yeah, because then it's also like, I don't know, you kind of got a sense early on that there was something about her that was extra desirable because of like James coming after her, for example. And then it's just kind of like never really explained.
Like, it should have just been Edward, and I would be fine with it, because he's just attracted to her, obviously, you know? And they're like a, you know, a fated mate situation. But because everybody's so drawn to her scent, and then nothing, like she could just shield. Okay, I'm glad you could do that, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of lame.
I feel like that was my only real, like, unanswered question, other than things that, you know, wouldn't really matter that you think about, like, well, when is Charlie going to catch on to the fact that she doesn't age? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Just like...
Yeah. Boy, they kind of... He knows something's really weird and he doesn't want to know. Yeah. So, he's kind of just, like, accepted that. It's so... It tracks so much to me.
Yeah, like, it tracks with his character, but like it doesn't track with me with the Volturi, because it's like so they're like, it's okay that Charlie knows but doesn't know. Like, that seems really weird.
Well, they don't, because he should have seen that Charlie knows. Yeah, when he looked at Edwards, because they get all the information. Oro does. Yeah.
So I'm like, obviously, when Bella never ages and Edward never ages, like, put two and two together, he'd be like, oh my God, you're a vampire. It's like, he'd eventually figure it out, I think, like, or something. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird to me that they just, like, let that slide, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for the fun facts section today, I decided it would be good to just talk about the spinoffs and what actually they are, because I had no clue before going into this that there were 3 spinoffs. So... the first one, which is technically book 5, so there's 5 in the series now, it's called Midnight Sun, and it is Twilight, but it's told entirely from Edward's perspective. Okay. So it's a pretty chunky book, so I was under the assumption that it was the whole story told from his perspective, but I found out from one of our listeners, actually, that it's just Twilight. So just book 1. Huh. Yeah. So... you know, I don't know, take with that what you will. I think it'd be more interesting to have the whole story told from his perspective, but I don't know. I'll still read it anyways. Then there's another spinoff called Life and Death, which this sounds really interesting. So it's basically the book Twilight, and these are all written by Stephenie Meyer. So these aren't like fanfic or anything. They're like written by Stephenie Meyer. So it's Twilight the book, but written with like a gender swap. So like if Bella was the vampire and Edward was the human.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's
so I was like, okay, like that could be cool too. Yeah. Just like a gender reversal, like where would that go? And then the third spinoff is called The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. Wait, The Short Second Life? I thought it was just called The Short Life. Hold on. I'm like, did autocorrect do something weird? I just want to make sure that I say the right thing. No, it's The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. That just doesn't really flow off the tongue for me. So this is a novella. It's a companion novella. And I don't know if you remember who Bree Tanner is, but she's the newborn vampire in Victoria's army that the Volturi execute.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's about her, like, what happens before that.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, that could be cool too, because it's just like a little, you know, like a little novella. Just to kind of get an insight into what was going on, like, over there on that side of, like, the vampire world or whatever.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what I've got for you as far as, like, fun Twilight facts. I thought that we'd give you guys all the info of all the books. That way you could, you know, if you didn't know those existed either and you've been on this journey with us, then maybe you could go check them out. I know I will. But I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it's over. But, I mean, technically next week we'll be giving you guys our star rating on the whole series as like a one whole big picture, talking about what we thought about it, and then the movies too. So I'm excited to do that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, we had such a fun time. We were able to watch most of the movies together, and it was a blast. It was so fun.
So fun. All but the last one. All but the last one. That's pretty good. For us, watching that many movies, that's...
For us, you don't even know. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's big feat. Big triumph.
Yeah,
really, so there we go, guys. That's all she wrote. Well, it isn't,
Twilight.
As Liz just said. There's other spinoffs,
Good night.
too.
We'll see you next week. And there's more books. So it just goes on and on.
Yep.
Really.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us again today in this Twilight mini-series. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast before you go. That way you don't miss out, because we have our videos every Tuesday. Yes. And then one more Friday until our little break. And then in the next quarter, we'll have another one.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we should we announce what our next mini episode series is going to be next episode, like on our last Twilight? Let's do it. Yeah, because we already know, guys. We've got it locked and loaded.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm excited.
So next week, make sure to join us again so that we can announce it to your ears. And you can hear, and you can join us, and you can get ready.
It's a big one. You guys
we need to, like, figure out when. Well, like, we'll let you guys know. Anybody can start reading whenever. But, like, when we'll start putting those out, it will probably be the March. February?
Yep, March. I think February or March, like around that time. We'll have to
something
figure
like
out
that.
the dates.
Yeah. But yeah. So stay tuned. And make sure to come check us out over on Instagram, TikTok at Besties in the Books Podcast, and Fable at Besties in the Book Club. You guys, we'll see you next Tuesday.
And
one more Friday for now. Bye.
Bye.